What's happening, everyone? It's Adam from Shisha Central with another Shisha Session episode. You're now tuning into episode 4. Hope you guys are all well and surviving this coronavirus epidemic that's going on around the world. Hope your families are safe. Hope you're safe. So the reason why I wanted to get Fakher on board today is because, as you guys know, Fakher is a major Shisha tobacco brand that is known worldwide. And I had got some communication from a few of their supporters to bring them on the show. So luckily, I managed to get 2 of them on the show. So I'm going to be introducing you to them right now. So we got Mo from Fakher USA. Hey, Mo.
Hello, everybody.
He's responsible for Fakher on the East Coast of America. And he's from New Jersey, New York. Then we're also joined by Matthew from Fakher, Spain. Hey, Matthew, thanks for joining. And I also got a few of my friends on here as well. So a few other Shisha bloggers from around the world. So let's say hello to Matt from Morning Hookah out of Idaho.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you guys so much for having me here. Can't wait to talk a little bit about Fakher and all sorts of fun stuff today. Make sure to check out youtube.com/morninghookah and also instagram.com/morninghookah. Sorry, had to get my plugs in as quickly as possible.
We're also joined by my friend Jakub from the Czech Republic. Jakub has an Instagram page and has actually released a book about hookah in Czech Republic. So make sure you guys go and check his page out. I can't pronounce it properly, so it's on his name tag there. Go and check him out. And lastly, we're joined by my good friend Mario from the UK, known as Novus Hookah, but he looks after a lot of stuff with the Spanish market. So thanks, Mario, for joining. So, guys,
thank you for inviting me, man.
It's all right.
So, let me introduce myself.
That's fine. Introduce.
No, I don't want it anymore.
Okay, that's fine. So,
you have a big banner behind you. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, true.
So, guys, first of all, I want to go into Covid-19. I know it's getting tiring talking about it. I'm getting really tired of talking about it as well with all of these sessions, but it has to be done. When it comes to Fakher, guys, what have you guys put in place as a company in terms of getting flavors to people, getting them flavors to vendors, and making sure everyone can still access your great flavors around the world?
Well, here in the United States, we're focusing a lot on the online stores right now. We're trying to manage to deliver every single product to the end consumer. We're also working on a lot of initiatives on how to clean your hookah, how to set up your hookah, and how to perfectly have an amazing experience smoking. So this is what we're focusing on. Also, we're focusing majorly here in the USA on how to help small businesses. We had a webinar like a week ago, and it was pretty successful. So that's it about the USA market.
Okay.
So regarding Spain, obviously the quarantine is a little tighter, and because of how the laws is structured, obviously we have a bit of restrictions, so we don't have the same capabilities available. So as sort of online or tobacco shopping is actually forbidden to purchase tobacco anywhere else that is not a proper vendor tobacco shop.
Mm-hmm.
So we managed to, the tobacco shop are still open, and that's a good thing. We manage the supplies. All the tobacco shop are stocked, and we're still refurbishing the tobacco shop even by single request. So all the people that wants a flavor that is not available in the tobacco shop, they have it. As Mo said, we're working as well on several initiatives. Obviously, we are taking care of all the, as he was saying, training people, making sure that they clean their device properly. Right now, there is a lot of home consumption, and we wanted to do something that helped the end consumer that was probably going to smoke only inside a shisha lounge, to enjoy his session safely, and on how to set it up, how to clean it. And I think it's very beneficial. And as well, I'm going to give a little bit of a hype for something that is coming.
Okay.
We're working, me, Mo, and the marketing team is working on a new platform that we're going to launch on purpose for the worldwide community, which is going to be called Shisha Club. And it's going to be a completely different platform, non-branded, for all the community to join. It's going to be launching next week. And we'll have several phases trying to make it as interactive as possible, as entertaining as possible. So you guys are all invited to join, to do live stream with us, on all the topics that you like, music, shishas, everything you really feel like. And obviously we have several projects that are in development to help the reopening of the lounges, help the safety, training the people for catering as well, to deliver the safest experience to the end customer.
Perfect. That's great news for having. It's a really good idea to have a lounge where we can all communicate and talk about Al-Fakher and other topics as well. Great initiative, guys. So you guys kind of answered that, but in terms of, say, obviously we got some markets who may not have as good access as, say, the US or Spain. So just give example as like the UK. It's already quite hard to get your flavor here. Are you guys thinking of doing anything with having more of a presence here in the UK market in terms of having our own shop or having some more vendors stock your flavor in the non sort of Red MX solution that you currently have?
The UK is a little bit of a delicate subject because the problem is not having Al-Fakher inside, is about the price reduction that is going to have once our product is in. To give you an easy comparison, for example, we sell our 50 grams tobacco here of Al-Fakher. The regular flavors are about €2.90, and when you bring it to the UK, it's going to be exponentially higher. The same problem we have it in France, but there is a slightly different customer base in France, so it's still going, but it's not as tough as in England. We're working on how to introduce properly our flavors. We are working on a strategy, but so far is the actual laws that are impeding not only Al-Fakher but the shisha in general to develop inside the country because of these prohibited taxes that is going to go through. We set up another initiative that we had. We set up an international as well, non-branded, completely for the community kind of association that takes care of European laws and will help us avoid this kind of let's say blocks that we can find all along the road, and this will probably end up being something positive for the UK as well for Europe, because as we know as well in the States, Mo and all the other guys that are smoking everywhere else, we know that we all constantly have to fight against some laws that are not maybe designed on purpose for shisha, and we have to adapt to it. So right now we don't want to react anymore. We are being proactive in terms of the legal strength of the brand itself. So hopefully it's going to be something positive for the UK as well.
Perfect. Thanks for answering that, Matthew. I just want to go into a bit of a background in terms of your flavor lines, because obviously you have different flavor lines that are present in different markets. I just want to go over a few of them with you because I get a lot of questions about Al-Fakher Gold line, Al-Fakher Fusion line, obviously the crafted batch you have in the States. So could you just do a brief overview of which new lines you've recently implemented, as well as some of the old lines that you have in the markets as well?
Okay, so basically with Al-Fakher, we have basic flavors. Like, we don't have mixes, only with the crafted batch that we just introduced in the market. So we're trying to work on a mixology program so people can mix different kind of flavors to end up having like one mix, which is favorite for them. For the crafted batch, we just have crafted batch number 22, which is mainly eucalyptus with tequila. It's an amazing product. We have crafted batch number 7, where we focused on the grapefruit and the passion fruit flavor. We have the crafted batch number 4, which is actually mainly apple with some chili in it, and you actually can feel the tanginess in it, which is an amazing flavor, and it's a favorite with all the customers. We have crafted batch number 86, which is mulberry with saffron. It's also like we're trying to introduce some spices into it. Green tea and citrus, crafted batch number 8, and finally crafted batch number 5, which is some orange with pineapple and some other mixes. Like I said, these products are the first mixed products with Al-Fakher here in the United States. This is why everybody's enjoying them and everybody's bringing them on board. We're having some tasting events all across the country, and we're just collecting data, and we can see that everybody's loving those flavors.
and as well is a good workaround for the United States legislation to have this crafted batch, because it's harder to bring new flavors. So we are working a lot of creating mixes that are being able to work with the state's legislation. In Spain and all around Europe, first we faced the fact that we cannot put anymore any fruit description or any fruit name. So unfortunately, we don't have this kind of. I can see that we have a very cool description of the crafted batches behind. Unfortunately, in Europe, we decided we at the time we decided to go with numbers, but we created something similar as well with the Fusion line. So the Fusion line right now we can count on 5 flavors: Magic Love, Lucid Dream, White Flash, which is the latest one that has been launched, Black Widow, and Ambrosia. This Fusion line has been added as well because the European customer, the new one in particular, the one that is carrying on this huge, I don't want to say fashion, but this culture of shisha that is growing, is part of a new kind of community, new smokers. So what happens obviously is that Fakher has a lot of core flavors. You know, we had just blueberries, just pineapple, and it's good for me. It's great for mixing. But if you are just beginning, obviously it's slightly harder, and a newcomer, a new buyer is gonna go to the tobacco shop and say, "Give me just that, and I want to smoke like a premix." So with Magic Love, for example, we have a fruity and fresh flavor. With Lucid Dream, we have something mixed with blueberries and raspberry. And we decided to do that to give an easier opportunity for the customer to introduce itself to the Fakher world, to the Fakher Tobacco, and to their products. Obviously, this is a line that has been launched 1 year ago, roughly, and 1 year and a half ago. And we are launching new products. 2020 is going to be, for Fakher, a very important year because we are carrying on a change of brand, change of image, and a lot of new things. The guys that has been in Russia can testify about that. And for example, right now we are gonna this summer we're gonna introduce what is called bases. This is one of them. These bases are molasses that are basically designed to unlock an infinite amount of mixes, because these are molasses designed to have 4 times the strength of regular Fakher products, which is already very powerful, and they will unlock and they will allow you to mix and play with all the flavor that you already had. This one in particular is a creamy base, so it will allow you to do cheesecake of anything you like, basically, and add that sweet vanilla kind of taste to it. Then we have one called Polar Freeze, which is a very, very cold experience. It's not mint, it's cold, and it will leave you a very, very fresh feeling on your throat and in the aftertaste as well. And these bases as well, they help you to manage the shisha experience in a much more enjoyable way, because they stabilize the experience, the smoke session, and as well they last longer. Instead of having a very big spike and then going down, we have a very steady curve in terms of degradation of flavor. We have the Polar Freeze, the Ivory Gold. We have a citrus base as well. One that is designed directly for the Russian market, which is called Majestic Aurora, which is a floral, spicy kind of base. And then we have one that is basically a very, very strong cardamom base. And this is not the last, let's say, new thing that we're going to bring to the market, but so far that's as much as I'm allowed to say.
Okay, great. It's good to see that Fakher are doing lots of new and innovative things, especially with the bases. I did see that when I went to Russia for Hookah Club Show. You also released, I think, 4 or 5 new flavors out in the Russian market when I was there, which was good to see. So, yeah, that's great. I'm just going to ask one more question before I pass you on to some others in the chat today. So I'm going to just go by and ask you, when it comes to dark leaf tobacco, are you guys planning to do any dark leaf lines? Do you have any in the pipeline? And what do you think about dark leaf tobacco in general?
Well, our development team obviously has seen any kind of leaves and test any kind of flavor. I would be lying if I say that we don't have at least thought about it, but it's not something that we're going to release at the moment. We are still studying the market, studying the performance. Let's consider Fakher as the Apple of the shisha brands, and when we release a product, it has to be it's not a copy of something. It's not let's try to make it happen. It's something that has to be 100% a working product, satisfying enough to be on the standard with our for our community and for ourselves as well. So we are studying the market. Dark tobacco, at least in Europe so far, there is curiosity around it, but it's not widespread because it usually is a more experienced kind of product. And it's tougher on the smoke. It's very popular in Russia, but they're used to a higher level of nicotine. And they started as well with us. They started with blonde leaf tobacco. And then they deviated to Burley leaf. We are not going to release anything soon, but Fakher is a brand that listened to the feedback, in particular in this phase in which we are designing and building the new Fakher, the chapter 2, because we defined the first basically 19 years of history as a chapter 1, and now we're turning the page. So nothing is excluded on the table. We are studying all the possibilities, but so far, we don't have anything planned for the market.
Okay, thanks for that, Matthew. Guys, Novus, Jakub, Matt, if you want to ask any questions, feel free to. So all of us can have a say.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it's very interesting how you want to refresh the brand. I've seen the new packaging. I think it's a nice change. Also, the new naming in Spain is going to be nice because I don't think the numbers work so well. And about the base thingy, I'm so curious about that one because, for example, in Russia, it's very common to mix the flavors. They always try to mix the flavors when you go to a lounge or anywhere. And actually, they call base the main flavor. But I think the idea of the base from Fakher is something to add just a hint to the main flavor to change the mix, right?
Yes, because of the intensity of it. Is just we designed it on purpose to be as intense. So like this, for example, at 200, this is a box which is 250 grams. It has a different design comparing to the other ones. And it has a more, I don't want to say professional because anybody can use it, but it has this improved intensity, this enhanced intensity on purpose just to cut. So 250 grams will be the same quantity that you will use using a normal kilo, okay? And for example, I tried it myself when I first had my hands on the Polar Freeze base because it's so intense. I obviously, the first mix was a 30%, 25% blend, which was already very strong. But, you know, nobody was stopping a curious head to prepare a bowl of 100% Polar Freeze. And I can testify, and then my testimony that is basically almost unsmokable. Is something as strong as or even stronger than Supernova in terms of intensity of coldness. And after 2 puffs, and I stopped smoking. After those 2 puffs, I had my throat cold for about 10 minutes. So that's why we are intending these products to put a small percentage of it. Obviously, the sweeter one and the more citric one, they're not going to be as aggressive, but they're still going to be very intense.
Okay, and now you mentioned Supernova. This one you mentioned is like Supernova. It's no menthol flavor on it.
Nope.
Okay.
It's completely odorless when you open the box. You cannot smell anything. Maybe only a little bit the tobacco, but it has no smell. To feel the actual power of the taste, you have to taste a little bit the molasses, and you will feel the cold on your lips.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing bases. I think something that's going to become more and more prevalent in the terms of for hookah, especially for home smokers, not only home smokers, but honestly like lounges and stuff. I love the idea that lounges can really kind of crack a code and say like, okay, well, we're going to use this as our base and we're going to put these different toppings on top of it and create very custom made mixes that are going to be at home for those lounges. And I think that's a really cool idea. I think it's something that hopefully we see more and more of. I love the idea of taking flavors and creating something out of them that you can use as a starting point to make some sort of mixes and stuff. I think cold is obviously something that's very, it comes to everybody very quickly. A lot of people will smoke mints when they first get into hookah and stuff like that. A lot of people are really diehard mint fans or like something that's very, very cold and stuff. But things like a cake base is very exciting to me. Something that's going to add some sort of like a texture to it, right? Like I think something that hookah mixes can sometimes miss the point of for certain flavors is the texture for certain types of flavors. So the idea to put in a base flavor of something that's cakey and then being able to add like, I don't know, like raspberry, for instance, and having like a raspberry cakey flavor to it, that sounds really exciting. Those kind of things are very cool. I like to hear about you guys at least experimenting with dark leaf. I mean, that's something that at least here in the United States, for enthusiast brand people and stuff, we're really big fans of dark leaf tobacco. We like a little bit of a heavier smoke. We like a little bit more of an intense type experience and stuff. And Fakher, who I agree with you, they are the standard when it comes to hookah tobacco. Like all the different brands come, they go, they do different things, but still, regardless of the fact, people still go back to Fakher because they are a standard for so many different reasons. And even if we don't see anything come out in the near future, it's exciting to hear that you guys are at least experimenting and working in those kinds of fields and stuff like that. I'm excited to see kind of the future of it, especially for that kind of stuff. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, and once you will try that, you will understand that is a good halfway step. The bases will be a good halfway step as well for black tobacco smokers, because the intensity and the texture of the flavor is really astonishing. And you will find maybe not the nicotine kick, but the fulfillment of what you get when you smoke, for example, a Tangiers. You will find something that is very, very close to it. Yeah.
That's exciting. The heaviness is what I really like about a good hookah smoke, is the heaviness.
Yeah.
I don't mind smoking the difference between like dark leaf and blonde leaf and stuff like that, especially because those terms are kind of just like a misnomer. It really just means heavier for the most part, or unwashed, a little bit more buzzy and stuff like that. So just having that heaviness, I think, is really the thing that once you get past that first wave of getting into smoking hookah, some people like a lighter smoke, nothing wrong with that, obviously, but I definitely prefer to have a little bit more of a heaviness. I will smoke a bowl longer if it has a more fulfilling, heavy flavor to it in comparison to something that's very light and fluffy. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, and technically as well, if the dark tobacco is just, well, what it helps you is that it has a slightly wider leaf, slightly more porous, the barley leaf. And as well, when it's a raw product, the Virginia leaf has around 1% of nicotine when it's raw. And with the barley, what you get is about roughly 3%. So obviously there is a difference there, but in terms of molasses, that you can give the same intensity as much as you like. So I think you will be happy with this kind of products. Yeah.
Any idea when that might be coming to the United States market? No, none at all.
Well, there's a lot of new things that's going to be launched in the 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more, exactly.
Yeah, but to talk actually about the East Coast and to be specific about dark tobacco, everywhere you go on the East Coast, they always use like light tobacco. And me personally, as a personal opinion, I believe that I didn't like the dark tobacco that much because I don't like to have this huge buzz. It makes me feel bad, to be honest. So this is why I believe that everybody on the East Coast is satisfied with what we're offering. And during my validation for the lounges here on the East Coast, I can guarantee you that there's only one lounge that serves dark tobacco, and they're not absolutely focused on hookah. So it's a bar and grill that serves dark tobacco, and honestly, it's owned by Russians. So you can actually segment the market in different ways. Mm-hmm. But our product is just ruling the market here on the East Coast, and you can find it everywhere.
Yeah, so, I think that especially for like lounges and stuff, I think lounge goers definitely prefer a much lighter. I think that it's much more of a, and I hate to use the term like enthusiast because I don't think that that's necessarily the right term to use, but like there is a different preference towards getting into, different kinds of smoking habits and stuff. And I think that you can kind of go past that first level, if you will, a little bit and want to try something else. I mean, even if you line up not liking it, just like you're saying how you have a personal preference to it. I am curious, though, like in the Czech Republic, Jakub, what is kind of a personal preference, at least in a large status, for what people enjoy? Do they like those kind of like lighter smokes? Do they like a little bit of a heavier smoke, a buzzy smoke? What is it?
In Central Europe, it's like that. The people are focused on the flavor, of the flavoring, not on the flavor of the leaf. But in the last 20 years in Czech Republic, we've developed a lot. Last 10 years, we really experienced much of dark tobacco. And I think the vast majority of people, or the enthusiasts, but you don't like it, obviously, are really into it. Fakher is like our first girlfriend. We never forget her. We all started with Fakher. The first Fakher here was in 1997, I think. And my personal first flavor was Fakher Honey in 2009 or 2010. And in terms of lounges, we have a lot. We have very few legal brands in here, like 12 or 13, because we have special legislation and really big taxes. And Fakher right now is in lounges all, I think, like from 50% legally and from 50% from the gray market. It's a big problem in Czech Republic, and that's the way how dark leaf come in Czech Republic, because we have a lot of smugglers from Ukraine, Poland, Russia, and that's why we have all the things, or the part of things you have in the US, for example, Tangiers from Russia, Dark Side, and other Russian brands. But Fakher is still very popular in the beginner sphere, because it's the biggest brand with single flavors on the market. And I think that's the huge issue in the trends right now. Everybody makes mixes. Yeah, mixes are everywhere. But the thing is, you have only Fakher and maybe Serbetli or Al Sultan that makes single flavors. Like you can mix everything, the components, the parts, but I think this is the good thing about Fakher, that for me, this is one of the very few tobacco that holds its standards. Fakher is still really good after all these years. And maybe that's my questions to Mo and Matthew. Guys, what was the turning point for you, the company, to go to the next chapter? Because maybe these 20 years in Czech Republic, Fakher was really good, single flavors. We didn't have your special lines, only about 1 year of special edition and the speed line, but not the mixes you have in Spain or in the United States. And I think, what was the reason?
Personally speaking, I believe that Fakher market is divided into different continents and different countries. So there is some flavors that you can see, for example, in Europe that we don't have here in the United States. But talking about innovation, we have like an amazing innovation department in Fakher that is always working on new things. Not talking about tobacco, talking about everything else. So we might have an idea about dark tobacco, but nothing is for sure right now. But we also have other ideas about different things to be smoked maybe later in the future. So we're always working on new flavors, new techniques, new products, everything else depending on the market. So whatever you see here in the United States, you might not see in Europe or in the Middle East. So we always try to divide due to, let's say, flavor preferences in the market and what people would like to see in the market.
Yeah, we try to tailor the experience for each kind of market. And to further the answer in terms of what was the turning point? Well, our brand it became worldwide just by concentrating on trying to build the best tobacco possible, the best product possible, and just shipping it out. And in basically 7 years, we were already selling in 100 different countries. Fakher grew a lot in a period of time that nobody was smoking tobacco as widely as now in terms of shisha. But what we realized is that we were distant from the action, let's say like that. And because then the end, the most important part of this world is actual end consumer, is the community itself. So Fakher in 2017 decided to take a different direction and become a customer-centric brand, focus on 100% of the community, designing products, developing new things, exciting stuff. As Mo was saying, not only these bases or not only this tobacco, but many things. And what we decide is that, yeah, we have to steer the company in a direction in which we have to offer this contact. We have to offer this closeness to the customer, because we are, as you guys say, the first girlfriend is about everybody's first girlfriend. And everybody that I spoke to started smoking maybe double apple, started with some alfalfa flavor. And because all these new brands in 2016, 2015, they started to enter the market worldwide, in Europe, in the States, it's harder to compete if you're only shipping tobacco from the comfortableness of your country. So that was a much needed change in direction. And what we are seeing is that what I'm doing, what Mo is doing that, being in contact with you guys, listening to the end consumer, understanding the market, being close to the community in all the phases for Corona, for any kind of experience, trying to offer a window on our world, and really bring back the passion that everybody had for this brand.
Actually, I've seen this alongside with Adam in Russia. You, a Fakher team, had really a huge booth with a room with a round table for communication with bloggers and people from business. It was really nice talk there, and the experience for the people it was the major part. You could go to the table, pick your flavors, and then the shisha master prepare the bowl, give you the bowl, and you put this on some shisha and smoke, and just calls, and everybody was super polite. And I personally talked with Alan Simmons, I think it was him, and they were extra polite and really care about the people, not only the bloggers, but for everybody. So I think I experienced your shift of the paradigm.
Yes, the guys that have been able to participate with us in Russia, they've seen that what you can differentiate us from all the other stands is that usually the other stands had the classic shisha flavoring experience. You come, you take a puff, and you leave. And you might find it new, you might find it burnt, you might find it in the middle if you're lucky, and you're not gonna have an enjoyable experience. You're not gonna relax. You're not gonna feel what actually the shisha is about. So what we did is we designed an experience for the customer and for the visitors that were coming to our stand, to our booth, and really bring them to our Fakher journey and speak with our shisha master, speak with us. All the company was there, the CEO was there, and you really had the chance to interact with on all levels of our company with us. And it was set up as a lounge. You had your own shisha. You can sit down as much as you want, talk with your friends, meet new people. And as you were saying, we had a round table, which were allowing you to get expertise views on different markets, different products, and have, as I was saying before, having a window on the shisha community all around the world, which is what we are really focusing right now. And I enjoy the fact that you guys appreciate the shift.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Jakub. Yeah, just touching on a bit what Jakub said. Mario and I were also present in Russia. Just want to say it's probably one of the best booths I've seen. Been going to Hookah shows for the last 4 or 5 years. And I remember back in the days at Tobacco and at other shows, Fakher's presence wasn't as big. But it's good to see that you came out with a bang in Russia. And the shisha was on the stand was quite good quality, much better than a lot of the other stands who were just keeping shisha there for hours of time. So yeah, and also to touch up on the fantastic party there as well. I don't know if Matthew or Mo, if any of you were there. I was there, and it was it
was amazing.
One of the best pre-parties I've ever been to. It was a good night. Mario had a really, really good night there.
I think I was there. I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't think you can remember you were there, but you were there. Everyone knew you were there. But yeah, so I just want to say well done on that, guys. So I'm just gonna touch up on. We've got a few questions coming in. A few of the questions that are coming in are ones that I wanted to ask myself. I want to go to one that's a bit controversial, but I think it needs to be said. Counterfeit and fake alfalfa. Being one of the biggest tobacco brands in the world, you guys are by far the most copied brand out there when it comes to tobaccos. And especially here in the UK market, there's loads of copies out there. People can't find original alfalfa because your presence here is only via the Red MX solution, which we're not really big fans of. So even getting smuggled in alfalfa is hard nowadays. So when it comes to the fakes, they're thriving. I would say at least 80% of lounges are using those fakes. Even home smokers who buy off people, they're using fakes. And the worst thing about it is, okay, it's fake, and that's one bad thing about it. But the worst thing is people are getting used to the taste of these counterfeit tobaccos. So when they then go into, say, countries like Dubai, or they go into countries where they have real alfalfa, or if they're bringing it in from Dubai themselves for personal use, they're finding that the original alfalfa is not satisfying them because they're so used to being hooked on the fakes for 2-3 years. So what are you guys doing to combat fakes worldwide? Are you doing anything with packaging that will enable these fraudsters to not be able to copy the packaging? I know you have some silver packets that are coming in from Europe, I think, that look silver or something. Then you got the old school alfalfa ones that come in different colors in Dubai. Just touch upon that and let us all know, because in the UK it's a big problem.
So you are absolutely right. We're trying to fight it. Obviously, the first tip that I can give for what are the old version of our tobacco, so the recent one, we have this kind of packaging, okay? And first of all, check always if there is a tracking on the bottom, because we always track our products on the bottom here with a small code that will allow us to track every pack to every line of production and see what's wrong with it. So if you are not satisfied, obviously you can get in touch with us and tell us, okay, I had a bad experience with this. Or if you are suspecting that something fake is coming through your hands, you can always report it to us, okay? And really, I mean, being the biggest brand, we have the most counterfeits and the most accurate counterfeit in terms of packaging, which is sad, but is a reality. So a tip that I can give you is that usually they skip a very basic thing on the plastic packaging of the paper packs, which is the easy open, okay, on the packaging. Usually it's not there. When you get a fake one, you have to open it from the corners, and when it's a real one, you always have the easy peel over here. So that's one way to find out and to help you navigate through the fakes. But what we are actually doing is that with the new wave of new design for packaging, this is, for example, the new box of 250. It will come without any plastic wrapping, because we designed a new seal that is hooked on one side, and you have to physically rip it open. It's a plastic seal, and you have to carry it on all around the box to open it. When you go inside, we designed a new pouch, so it's not anymore loose in the box. You can put it, but we have a double packaging, and this new pouch has a Ziploc bag, okay, that you can reseal. And all these details, obviously we keep the tracking, we keep everything that we had before, but all these details will help differentiate, at least have some margin in terms of timing for the counterfeit products. It will be much harder to replicate this quality of plastic and this kind of sealing. So, always when you change the packaging, it will give us at least some months to breathe, and it will help fighting the counterfeit market.
We don't have any counterfeits right over here in the United States, right, Matt? No.
Yeah, I've never ran into any counterfeits, at least here in the U.S. market. Never have I seen anything that looked any sketchy for that or anything like that. We've been pretty lucky in that sense, where we've never had to deal with that.
I think it's more with the countries that have higher tax. That's where you're gonna find more of them, But yeah, someone asked me over here, is it really that big of an issue in the UK? Yes, it is, because obviously I've been to over 300-400 lounges here in the UK, and it's very hard for me to have a nice grape and mint. I can taste when it's not original, because I'm a big smoker of grape and mint. So I feel that, it is a big issue, and it's great to see Fakher putting in place some stuff with the new packaging to combat all that sort of issue. So I hope you guys always look at your packaging and make sure it's authentic. If you have any issues, like they said, you can always ask them and they'll be happy to help. So moving on from the fake flavor side of things, I'm just going to ask a few more questions. So this is an interesting one. Yo, Cash, how you doing? So, you know, when it comes to stuff like your authentic, like double apple, grape and mints and flavors like that, I've heard this same sort of question for some people. I don't come across the problem as much, but I'm not really a heavy double apple smoker myself. But when it gets smoked in, say, Khalid Mamoon or Arabic sort of hose, the flavor really comes through well. But when it's in a silicone, people find that it's not coming out as well as it should. I think it's probably down to obviously the flavor ghosting. So if you have a pipe that's just for double apple, which is like an old school pipe, you're going to get a better session. Whereas the silicone might take a bit longer for it to wear in. And obviously you're going to wash the silicone, so it might take some ghosting out. So could you just answer this question, guys?
Well, yeah, I mean, I will give the ball to Mo after I answer, but the main reason is not about the hose itself. Yes, that's the part. And loungers usually have the technique of dedicating a certain kind of shishas and hoses to certain kind of flavor, not only the shisha, but the hose itself. So it depends which lounge you go to. And if you use it personally, obviously, you're going to clean it much more. So you have less retention of flavor in the silicone hose, which is, to my opinion, a positive thing, because you know that you have a less retention in terms of old product sticking in. When we're talking about flavor delivery as well, if you're smoking from a traditional device, usually they're made out of brass and or copper. And this kind of material, they retain a lot of flavors, and they usually are dedicated even for home consumption just to one flavor itself. They are much harder to purify. And for I smoke, I don't know, do you know MIG devices from Germany? They have the MIG traditional, which is a very, very high-end hookah device. And they have the steel traditional, and then they have the brass. I smoke with both of them, and I smoke with one that was dedicated only to double apple. And we try to put a different bowl. And I have to say that if you light up that shisha, that hookah, just with an empty bowl, it's gonna taste double apple anyway. So it's about the whole structure of what you're smoking. If you're smoking from a traditional device, the flavor is gonna stick much more. So if you're really into that kind of flavor, go to a lounge that serves that kind of experience. And if you're smoking home, get that device, stick to what you're used to. I personally don't mind, and I mix a lot of flavors. I tend to smoke fruity, minty, double apple, any kind of thing. So I prefer steel ones for their easiness in terms of cleaning and removing the flavor from it. But obviously there are the bowl that you use, what you are, if you're using a traditional bowl as well, what kind of clay you're using, all this kind of elements can help you to deliver a more steady, more flavorful double apple experience or any kind of flavor experience. And obviously, when you swap to something more versatile, you're not going to have the same concentration, but you lose versatility. I don't know if more you have something to add to that?
No, the only thing that I would like to add actually is that here in the United States, most lounges, they label their hookahs.
Yes,
so once you smoke, for example, some double apple inside a hookah, they would just put like a red tape, for example, on it. This is why they just use it for double apple. For me personally, I'm using my hookah for everything else, but I believe that the way I clean my hookah, it's always taken off all the flavor. Yeah.
Thanks for that, guys.
I'd like to add to that, actually, if you don't mind. I'm going to say something that may be controversial. I don't know. Somebody may find it at least that way. But I also think that it's a little bit of a placebo effect. And I don't mean it in like a negative or a positive. It's just kind of in like a baseline, because when you get used to smoking something in a very specific type of way, you can kind of feel like this is the way that this thing is supposed to smoke. And then if you smoke it somehow differently, regardless if it's even better or worse, you're just going to immediately think like, well, this isn't exactly what it is that I'm looking for. For me personally, I have very specific bowls that I will smoke very specific brands of tobacco with. And I've just gotten used to doing those things with those certain bowls and stuff. When it comes to Fakher, I like to use a bowl with a little bit more depth to it instead of something that's more shallow. If I smoke it with something that's more shallow, it's still going to be a good smoke, but I can tell myself that this would have been better had I used a different bowl for it. So I think that sometimes, not all the time, I do think that whenever a hookah is made to be a specific smoking hookah for like double apple or for mint or whatever the case may be, I do think that helps the situation a lot. But I do think that sometimes we as smokers will get into habits. And if those habits aren't exactly what we're expecting, then it will feel different to us personally as well.
True.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And the good thing about shisha is that there is not a right way to do it. Obviously, there can be a wrong way, but there is not the best. You can find your way. And for some people, the best is traditional. The best is modern. For some people, the best is another brand that is not Fakher. And it's about taste, you know, and it's about personal preferences and things like this. So building on what you said, it makes absolute sense.
Perfect. No, thanks for that, Matt. Moving on to another question that's a bit similar. So we got a question from Fakher in the ass. Thanks. Nice name. But yeah.
Happy that you keep it with you at all time.
Yeah. But okay, so it's similar to what we were saying about, obviously everyone has different preferences, everyone has their own smoking style, but you know, you got some brands, so say like Dark Side, they have the Bosca Rimsa bowl, which is their recommended bowl for their tobacco. Do you guys have any recommended products or setups that you guys have for Fakher tobaccos?
Like actually Matt said, like it's better to use a deep bowl. And what I absolutely insist on is that to leave a space between the tobacco and the foil or the HMD, because once there is a direct contact between the heat management device or the aluminum foil with the tobacco, it's gonna burn fast, and you're not gonna have like a pleasant experience in a way or another. Other than this, I believe that the experience is gonna be good both ways. I believe before I joined Fakher team, to be honest, that I had the best experience and I knew how to pack a bowl. But I had actually a nice training in a way or another in Dubai that showed me how to mix the tobacco. You can see online a lot of people who dry out the tobacco in a way or another. They use like paper tissues or whatever.
Yeah,
I was gonna be slapped on the face when I did this in front of the management in Dubai. So all you need to do
thanks
is
for
mix the
touching
tobacco.
on that. Thanks for touching on that, because here in the UK we have some lounges that still think it's good to wash your tobacco. They put it under a tap and they swear by it. They say, listen, this is the best way for it. Thanks for clearing that up.
No, please. And I want to add something. So sorry, Mo. Sorry, keep going.
No problem. Just to tell you. So the thing is, I used to do this with the tobacco, and the answer was we have a perfect combination of the elements that makes our product, which is the glycerine, the fructose, the tobacco, and whatever. So all you need to do, and absolutely that's it. The only step that you need to do is mix the tobacco well before you use it, and just make sure that there is a space between the foil and the tobacco. That's it.
Yeah, I can give like as I was saying before, everybody has their own perfect way. I think that Fakher is a very, very simple tobacco to smoke. It's beginner friendly, and the good way, the good setup will be, doesn't matter the bowl. Obviously, you will have a higher flavor translation with a traditional bowl, but it's up to you. You will have a better translation of flavor and smoking experience if you leave the leaves very spaced between them. So it's a tobacco that needs to breathe. It doesn't need much heat. And yes, you need to leave a little bit of space. And the reason is why it's very simple. We have a very dry tobacco. Our molasses are not excessive. We're not like Germans brands that soak their tobacco in heavy molasses, okay, or the Russian brands as well. So you have a comparatively dry leaves if you match it with other brands, and that helps you to have a very, very fast startup session when you're smoking. But obviously you have to be a little bit more careful with the heat management. So pick your favorite bowl. You will have your experience about it. You will know which one is your way. Try to smoke it with. If you smoke it with more restriction, less restriction, doesn't matter. My advice personally for a higher translation of flavor, obviously going with the traditional one. but it's not going to lose anything appreciable if you're a new smoker, if you use a funnel bowl. And it's gonna handle very good the call out if you know how to pack it. It's gonna go fantastically with a Provost apple on top kind of device. It really is really versatile and it's very easy to use. Don't overthink it. That's what happened with the washing thing. You overthink it. You see another brands that is so rich in molasses that you actually have to sometimes you have to remove a little bit of it. But Fakher is not like that. Just as Mo was saying, just when you get the pack, just make sure that all the tobacco and the molasses are very well mixed, and just put it in the bowl. Very easy, very straightforward.
Can I add to this? Maybe just one more thing. Mo and Matthew, we're talking about the pros with the Fakher tobacco in terms of packing. In your opinion, what are the weaknesses of the Fakher in terms of packing, maybe heat resistance and everything? To be honest.
It's not going to handle well heat.
No, it's not a
weak packet.
Yeah, it's not actually a weakness, but it's just a point that I would love everybody to focus on. Using shallow bowls, actually, simply because you need to fluff the tobacco, it wouldn't work that much with Fakher. So using deep bowls, so this is where you can have like actually fluffy tobacco and you can have a better experience. But weaknesses, I don't think we have any weaknesses. But usually what I do when I have a shallow ball is that I cut the tobacco, because we usually have like big kind of leaves inside, especially in the crafted batch. Like the leaves are accordingly bigger a little bit. This is why I make sure to cut it in a way or another. And I have a perfect experience. So we have a perfect mix, the perfect ingredients inside the tobacco. All you need to do is know how to use it.
Yes, and as well, I think that, as I was saying before, if you use it as another brand, obviously it's gonna show its weaknesses, but because it's not the way that it's meant to be smoked. So just make sure that you don't overpack it, that you don't press it. It's a tobacco that needs to breathe. Don't make it too hot. Just very, very basic tips, and you're gonna have the best smoking experience, I believe. And one thing to give to Mo as well as a tip, because you don't have that, but in here in Europe, the 50-gram packages offers you another options if you don't want to cut the leaves yourself, because to fit the leaves in the 50-gram pouch, we pass the same leaf, same thing is absolutely the same. So I want to make sure that all the meats behind, or it's just the leftover from 1 kilo or whatever. It's not like that. It's the same recipe, same everything. It's just that it's passing through a machine that is adding another cut to the tobacco. And when you open it, you find a tobacco that is much more similar to a German style of tobacco or a Starbucks kind of tobacco, which is so. Depending on your preference, if you would like smaller pieces, instead of cutting yourself, you can buy a 50-gram pack and have it in a different way.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that prefer buying 50-gram packs of Fakher flavors because they are a more cut up one. When it comes to smoking Fakher, for me, I'm a very traditional person. Like, very few times do I smoke with just foil and coal on the foil. Like, usually I'll throw on a Provost and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I am much more of a preference of just putting on 3 flats or 3 cubes and using that with just foil by itself. I really like the traditionalness to it. It's very, very few flavors that I actually just do foil and cube on. But recently, I've definitely started to embrace the Cloud Lotus 2 a little bit more and have been enjoying using a cloud with Fakher as well. It's something that I'm kind of teaching myself how to do, just to make sure that I'm not just falling into a rut of doing the same thing over and over again. But because I'm someone that likes to just do foil and coal and smoke my Fakher just like that.
Yes.
Thanks for that, Matt. Yeah, I was going to touch up on the same thing. The 50-gram packets are quite popular. Yeah, I know a few home smokers have asked me where can I get 50 grams from because they prefer the cut. But I just want to touch up on, obviously, Mario, a bit quiet over there in the corner. You got anything to ask him about the Spanish market? I can't hear you. I think you're on mute. No, I can't hear you. You're not on mute, but I think your microphone. Yep, no, I can hear you. He is gone. He will be back. He will be back shortly.
Mario heard a lot of good news about Fakher, so he's speechless.
Yeah, exactly. He's speechless about it. I could actually hear him at the end, but he went away. So, okay, before Mario comes back, I'm just going to ask one more question before he comes back. So from my friends 320 Cole, how you guys doing? So he's read or found out from somewhere that Fakher might be available at duty-free airports in Europe pretty soon. Is this a fact or fiction?
I mean, we are already in all the duty-frees in the world, so I'm actually surprised that you cannot find it in your European one. I would be curious in which airport you are not able to find it and what, because duty-frees are actually one of the main channels altogether. They're one of the main channels of Fakher in terms of sales. So I'll do some research about it, but to my knowledge, there is no problem in terms of distribution for duty-frees in terms of Fakher products.
Okay.
And by the way, time ago when we launched the bases in the duty free in Dubai, which is the only place you can get them so far, we had an actual like a giveaway sort of setup in which when you buy something you can participate and maybe win a trip to Dubai.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Maybe sorry, Adam. In my experience from the airports of Europe, I haven't seen any Fakher. Maybe it's the bigger issue because in Prague, Frankfurt, and other big cities, on their airports there are none Hookah tobacco at all. I only experience in Dubai, in Turkey, in Egypt, Tunisia, and maybe Oman, but in Europe there is none. Maybe some Messiah, but I can only find cigarettes and cigars. That's it.
Yeah, as it happens with the regular tobacco shop, and the law in Europe is a little bit more stringent. So same thing that happens with the tobacco shop on the ground. They might refuse it just point blank to have shisha tobacco over there. Not all the tobacco shop has shisha inside. That's not a fault of Fakher. It's just a personal preference of the people who are handling the tobacco shop.
Yeah, it's not an insult or I don't make waves. Just the information for you guys.
Yes, absolutely. I will keep it on, and as I said, I will do further investigation for that.
Perfect, guys. Thanks for that. Yeah, even myself, I travel quite a lot in Europe, Germany, France, Sweden, and stuff like that. I never really see any shisha tobacco in airports, so it'd be good to find out from you guys. Mario, you're back with us. Can we hear you now?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
Yeah, so just if you want to catch up on some stuff.
So yeah, sorry. About the previous question about the how to smoke it, blah blah blah. So about that question, I don't like telling people how to smoke a tobacco because aside from 10 years that is smoked in a very specific way, I think when somebody tells you how to smoke a brand, it's because it's weak. But with Fakher, you don't have this issue because it's a very easy tobacco. So I would say smoke it your way, and if you find it difficult or you think like something's not right, try with a deeper bowl. I personally love smoking double apple in a very specific way with a traditional bowl such as Turkey bowls or Egyptian bowl. And I use this German screen, like the Brewhood or the Bacha. I love smoking double apple that way. But as I said, try your own way and test it.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
Thanks for that, Mario. I got another question coming from Canadian from Canada. So he's asking about spicy flavors. Any chances of bringing out flavors like hickory jerky or something like that? Do you have any of that sort of flavor profile in your inventory at the moment? And are you looking to include some more funky flavors like that? Oh, you're on mute.
Okay. So I doubt that we'll have a jerky flavor, but we're focusing actually a lot on some spicy flavor. Like Crafted Batch number 4 is an amazing flavor. I don't know if you guys tried it. It's amazing flavor. We have some spicy flavors, which is like cinnamon, some cardamom. We have a lot of spicy flavor, but we're still like a little bit away from getting a jerky flavor or something like that, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw somebody ask in the chat earlier as well. His name was Tanner. He asked about some of the crazier type of flavors like corn, actually. Obviously, the Russian market has been taken over with a lot of interesting, diverse flavors. I can't think of the name of I think it's WTO has like a cheese flavor and a fish flavor and all these kind of like wacky flavors and stuff like that. And I've tried a pepper flavor before, which was really unique. I tried a corn flavor before, which was weird. I know some people say that it's good. I won't say it's bad, but I definitely wouldn't say it's good. It's just a thing that people smoke. But that's one way to put it for sure. I don't know if anyone wants to smoke popcorn for an hour and a half, but hey, if you do, that's cool for you. But yeah, I mean, besides the spice, like the saffron, which is cool, the chili, which is very cool. But I mean, could we possibly see the breakthrough of an Fakher corn flavor?
Yes.
Well, somebody answered it, I believe. Maybe if there's some kind of demand on it, yeah, we wouldn't have it. Other than this,
if there is a market for it, I'm sure that we will be there. In Russia, I was having a chat with our colleague in Russia, Nadia, and she was saying that they like to smoke, for example, food flavors. So yeah, like meat, bacon, this kind of flavor mixed. And one interesting flavor, for example, is cucumber. We don't have it in our range, but we produce at least more than 100 different flavors, roughly 150. We're always studying new flavors, listen to the feedback, and if your market is screaming for something a little bit more diverse, I'm sure that we will hear and do something about it.
Guys, do you think it's the right way to go with the flow, or just making it your way? Because yeah, this kind of flavors are really, it's a gimmick, you know. It's good for mixes and for strange experience, but from my point of view, I don't think that Fakher needs to go that way, because you have your own style, your own branding, and the way you put your flavors on the market. I don't think you need such gimmicks, but you can you can surprise us all.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's not about need. I mean, we always experimenting, as you say. Yeah, it's maybe good material for a video. Oh my God, I'm smoking pepper with cucumber and bacon, you know, and do like a bacon thing. It's good for a video, but I don't know if it will be a widespread thing. But as I said, you know, if there is a market for it, Fakher is behind it. So far, we don't plan anything like that. In Arabia, we have as well something like masala bread, which is very spicy, similar to masala from Al-Wafa. And we have so many options. And sometimes when you think, oh, Fakher should do that, we might already have it. But you know, that doesn't mean that it's available for all the markets, because sometimes you can listen to some shisha enthusiasts that smokes 5 shisha, 6 shishas per day, and they always want to try something different. But for the 90%, 95% of the customers, if we introduce some flavors like that, it's gonna sit in the tobacco shop and nobody will buy it.
Which is interesting because
just to add on this, by the way, crafted batch number 4 is more into the savory side, maybe in a little bit. And when I used to do my sampling, engaging with the community, actually, the first impression was not that good. But then they have the curiosity to try it again. Mm-hmm. And this is when they actually favored it. Like they loved it after the second try. So I believe that's something that we can build on, the crafted batch number 4. Maybe we'll have some bacon and maple syrup kind of flavors. Who knows?
Oh man, that sounds like something for sure. And it is interesting because if you look back at the catalog and the history of Fakher, they are one of those brands that did do a lot of very innovative things, especially early on. I mean, they did pipe tobacco, they did soft black, they did energy drink flavors before energy drink flavors. Look at Jakub over here showing off his rare collection and stuff.
Yeah, but this is the pipe tobacco, as you mentioned, Matt. Mm-hmm. It's actually showing a pipe here, but the taste, it's all chocolate. It's amazing.
Yes, very,
chocolate,
very chocolatey.
Really good for mixing with, for example, vanilla and other stuff. And this is really fucking rare. And I hope that maybe Fakher one day will do a reborn of this flavor, because it's really nuts.
I would love to see a special edition where Fakher pipe came back. That'd be very cool, or soft black and stuff. But yeah, you look back at the history of Fakher, they did a lot of innovative things, especially in the very beginning. Like when they did their energy drink flavor, I think it was just called Energy at the time. Like that wasn't something that people did. Like that was a very first thing that they brought to the market. And then everybody started to do these kinds of different energy style drinks and stuff like that as a flavoring. But I mean, I agree. You never know what you could see. It does not mean I want cheese. I don't. Don't look for cheese. I don't know about that.
And one thing, as a philosophy behind, finding these weird flavors, I think that you have to know what to ask for, depending on the brand that you're smoking. So I think that if you are finding yourself loving a brand that do this kind of weird mixes, you should ask for that brand to keep going for more. Obviously, we are changing a lot of direction. We are innovating, but I think that's every brand has their own identity, and I think that if we steer too far from it, we follow a path that would be not so good for a brand which with the identity of Fakher, because you start copying, and we have to lead, which is a different and harder thing to do.
Yeah.
Maybe one addition to this, Matthew and Mo, what's your philosophy, the Fakher philosophy in making flavors? Is it just based in Saudi Arabia and you make all flavors there, or maybe you in the United States or in Europe you can develop your own flavor and try it on your own, and then it will be mass produced? What's the philosophy behind making flavors in Fakher? Thank you.
Well,
Mo can say something about the crafted batches. You have the best example.
Yeah, well, what we're trying to do, I believe that we're trying to launch some new flavors through crafted batches. So it's like, I believe it's going to be like a limited time offer, so we can see the reaction of the community, and then it's either we'll keep it or we'll remove it in a way or another. We have a lot of flavors that we don't have in different type of markets. For example, I can see clearly that we have, for example, the Pan flavor, which is not available in the US market, but it's absolutely available in every single Asian market. So yeah, it depends on the flavor preferences of the community in each market. And this is what we're working on. And like Matthew said before, if you have any kind of flavor that you see that Fakher would shine doing or whatever, we would love to hear your thoughts, and maybe we'll work on it.
Yeah, and as well, to my point of view as well, I like to add that we don't have only factories in the UAE. We have factories in Poland. We have factories in Egypt. And as I was saying before, with the bases, we listen to the customer. We do studies with the people on the ground, with experts on the ground, with the community before launching a new product. The Majestic Aurora, the Jasmine Green Tea, which I have in here, let me get it. Yeah, this one. Which was one of the flavor launched in Russia, exclusively for Russia. It didn't came out of Dubai's fantasy. It came through studying, through research with the community on the ground, not from Dubai. And that's the most important thing. If we want to introduce a flavor to a community, we want to make sure that the community loves it, and we designed around what are the preference of the end consumer.
Perfect. Thanks for that, guys. Got another question in from Fakher in the ass. So the question now, he's talking about the crafted batch. So he said he's watched a recent video on a reviewer's page, and he stated that there are multiple standard AF flavors that go into the crafted batch. Is this true, or is it a totally different sort of process when it comes to making crafted batch?
I believe it's the same process all over our product line. But the only difference between the crafted batch and the usual product line that we have is that the crafted batch is a mixture. And there is some actual flavors in the crafted batch that we don't have as a single flavor or a basic flavor. For example, number 8, we have the green tea. We don't have green tea in our usual flavors. The chili is not available as a single flavor, and the passion fruit. So it's the same process, but different flavors, and they're all mixed together.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for that. I got some questions on my Instagram as well.
I have a question for Matthew about this. So what's the plan in Spain for this chapter 2? Are you gonna get rid of the whole catalog of Fakher and then relaunch with the new packaging and naming, or just replace the actual flavors?
No, the product was, so one thing that the customer has to understand is that the product inside is the same. So for example, if you had Lucid Dream is going to taste the same. It's going to be the same package. But what we're going to do is that we are going to introduce slowly into the market the new packaging. Firstly with the core flavor. So with double apple, with mint, we grade the most sell ones. Obviously, we're going to introduce it faster, and then we're going to see a shift for all the other flavors. We're going to have a launch that is going to happen this summer. For the basis, is going to be around July. Obviously, Corona allowing us to do this is going to be the main dilemma over here. But yes, we are launching the new products already with the new packaging, the innovative stuff, and the things that we had. We're going to sell them. We're going to start introducing the new packaging. And the more and more we go forward, the more you will see the whole range swifting through the new packaging and the new naming system, because we will have for all Europe, we're going to get rid of the numbers it was innovative because no brand had it, but you will really have to be an expert and smoke it every day to know what you're smoking. Because once you remove it from the tobacco shop, you don't know what you get. If you have a 32 and you bring it home and you're not experienced, you don't know if it's guava, or mango, so it's going to be much more comprehensive. Obviously, the name are not going to be fruit, but they're going to be related to what you're smoking.
Okay, and I have a question from Goofy. He asked me when is going to be the next trip event to Dubai. I think with the corona, it's going to be difficult to answer that question, but do you have any plans to do some kind of event like this?
Right now, we're all locked down, and obviously the trip has to make sense to make it happen. We will involve the community for anything that we will be able to organize as soon as possible. But we are not planning any trip. Maybe he will be in Russia or in Izmir soon.
Okay.
Sounds good. So I'm just gonna thanks for that, Mario. Going to touch upon a few more questions that I have from Instagram. So someone is asking, how's your Frosty line doing? I know you guys introduced a new flavor sort of profile called Frosty 2 apples, Frosty raspberry. How's that going? And which countries is it available in?
Well, it's available all around Europe. It's something that we introduce in Europe and in the UAE as well, in the Saudi market. They're going very well. They have a very specific twist to it. So sometimes, for example, if somebody ever smoked the Frosty double apple, you will find that it's not colder. It's actually a little sweeter, and it has a twist to each flavor. The frozen, for example, gum that we have, which is -9. Is very popular, and in that case is a little fresher, a bit more intense in terms of spiciness of the gum. And for regarding to Frosty double apple, yes, it's going very well as well. The markets, as we have seen, they tend to gravitate towards new stuff. So even if it's just a different twist and a different version, it will give the opportunity to the customer to try something new for mixing and to try something new for themselves, even by, even just trying the flavor by itself. So, yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that, Matthew. Got another question in from someone on the Instagram. He's asking, are Fakher looking to do any products? I still have one of their old school glass shishas. Are you guys looking to do any products? I used to remember I actually had one of those glass shishas, which came in the case.
Yes.
Really old school. I think they still sell them in Dubai at some shops. But are you guys looking to innovate when it comes to products, or are you just focusing on tobacco from now?
Well, Matthew is keeping his mouth sealed, but I believe that there is some plans for some innovation, because like I previously said, actually, that we have an amazing innovation department in Dubai. They are working on many stuff, and I believe that we might see some partnerships in the future as well.
Fakher tongs.
Yep.
Yeah, the big boy tongs too, which
Yeah,
I really appreciate.
These are for steaks, right?
Yeah, they might as well be. I tell you, put this on your grill. I like that a lot. I would love to see a new solid hookah from back in the day. I think that'd be great.
Like everything available to the end consumer, from hookahs to HMD, hopefully in the future. And it's just an idea right now, but maybe in the future you're going to see a lot of things coming on the way. Branded Al Fakher, hopefully.
Keep an eye on it and you'll see something very cool.
Let's brand everything.
So moving on from that, going to go for a few more questions before we head off. We had some more questions about HMDs. That's been answered. I'm just going to move on to, because I've been getting quite a lot of questions from UK followers of mine on the Instagram, and most of them are all about when you guys are going to try and do something. I know you answered it already in terms of trying your best to find ways of implementing new products in the Europe market, but a lot of them are still asking, are you guys looking anytime in the near future to have like a representative here or something? I think we had a couple of years back, but I don't really see a presence at all, apart from 2 stores having Al Fakher Red MX. Are you guys looking to do anything?
Well, our team is expanding, and we actually have offices in London for our GM and our directors. So, yeah, something might happen. We did some studies recently, about 1 year ago, to check with the community, to do like a dry round and a soft launch, and get an idea for Al Fakher perception in the UK. We are interested, and this team of this marketing team is going to grow exponentially in the future, and you'll see a lot of closeness to your favorite brand, let's call it like this, that we're gonna come. So hopefully you will find something close to you as well.
Perfect, thanks. One question. So another person has asked. He's actually a blogger from France. He's asking, how is Al Fakher looking to work with bloggers and enthusiasts in the future? I know obviously in Russia you had the meetups with all the bloggers and questions and stuff like that, but what is your plan for this going forward, and what sort of things are you looking to do for the enthusiast community and for the future bloggers out there?
Well, let me just take you back to how this initiative started. We were actually the first generation to come on board with Al Fakher to be like brand ambassadors, and our main role was from last year is to engage with every single person inside the community. So we started with engaging with lounges, with hookah fans, with everybody else, and right now we're focusing on bloggers, vloggers, and you can clearly see that we're approaching every single vlogger in a way or another, so we can spread the message about what we have new in the market and what we can have in the future inside each of the markets. We started with, and I would like to give a shout out to everybody who's on board with us. Some people are from Egypt, some people are from Saudi Arabia, we have people in Dubai, the United States, from New York to California, in Spain, and in Germany as well. So I believe that we're going to expand, and every single blogger is going to be reached from a certain person or a certain brand ambassador from Al Fakher. We're trying our best to spread the message, to give every single person in the community to have the best possible experience through vloggers or through lounges or through any second ambassador for our brand in a way or another.
Everybody will forget about Czech Republic.
Yep.
Hopefully.
And I'd like to comment on this just a little bit, if you don't mind. I think that for any blogger or reviewer or personality that is trying to get in touch with somebody, one of the most proficient ways of doing that is by being active and by creating content that is interesting and people are interested in seeing. I think that that's also very important. It's not that, as he said, he wants to reach out and touch with as many different bloggers and people as possible and stuff. But something that's going to help you personally is if you are somebody that is creating content at a good level and a consistent level too. That's something that's so important. You will see different people that are interested in getting involved with doing like YouTube reviews or Instagram type stuff, and they will fall off very quickly. You know, something that's important, that if you want to be a part of this industry or this stuff that's happening, you need to do your part in trying to engage with as many people as possible, the people that matter, the people that are able to get you in touch with the right people, and just by being active. I mean, the whole reason why I'm here is because me and Shisha Central have spent a lot of time talking with each other, and I've spoken to a couple different people from Fakher and stuff like that. And then here we go. Mo's telling me what to pack in my bowl to make sure I make him happy. So like that's how, no, I'm just kidding about that part. But being active is so very important. Is I think the one of the big takeaways about that.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I can really back up Matt on this topic. I do it for 5 years, and the best what came from the whole hookah scene is the people. It's not all about business relation. It's about having fun, have a drink, have a chat about non-hookah related topics, and to get to know each other. I personally traveled to all Shisha Messe in the recent 5 years and met a lot of guys. Actually, it's a funny thing that me and Adam from Shisha Central, we actually seen each other in Russia, but haven't approached. We just text, but we haven't met. He was at the Fakher party, I was at the Dark Side party, and we only met in maybe one lounge. But
it was funny because I was at the Fakher party. And I think you weren't there. And then next day, I didn't turn up to the other party, and you were there, so we couldn't meet. But it's great that we're finally seeing each other face to face via live stream. So yeah, that's I definitely agree with that as well. It's about keeping active and keeping honest as well. I think that's another thing.
Absolutely, yep, please.
Okay, and the other thing about the content, as Matt said, be relevant. You can see all the YouTube reviewers and Instagram pages with misused pictures. They steal pictures and everything. Try to make your own content, even if you make a picture with a bonsai tree and every picture is like that. This is your original content, and keep it like that. Your own way. For example, I run my blog site for about 5 years, and my specific approach is to make my content funny. I mix dark humor with sarcasm and everything, that people can learn things, but also have fun alongside. This is my way, and I think every person needs to find their own way, because otherwise they will fall down in a few weeks, months, and we all of us have seen a lot of these projects.
Yes, we're not. You're absolutely right, and we're not looking for copy pasting of or facsimile of different famous profile. We're looking for identities. We're looking for interesting people. We're looking for passionate people, and you really have to deliver what you're passionate of. If what you deliver is through humor, what you deliver is through something technical, through exceptional quality, through podcasting, anything you like, it really has to be personal. And building on the strategy, Fakher, what he's doing is giving and designing tools for not only the influencers but the community itself to use. Okay, that's why we're building experience. We're not giving freebies and free trips. It's more like a reward for your work, a reward for your uniqueness, and more experience will come. You will see very, very well thought out programs that are going to develop through 2020, 2021, the next years for Fakher. And what they're going to do is really giving you the tools and letting you choose. Okay, Fakher, and we're not trying to shove ourselves into anybody's faces because that can be counterproductive, as we've seen doing with some other brands.
Yeah. Maybe one last thing about this topic. If you want to do something like this, make sure that you are maybe from one part independent. It's not all about earning free stuff from brands and companies. You are not like their marketing channel, but at some point you are, because you are doing things with their products. You have to be at least in one part independent, because when your audience sees that you're only are getting the stuff and maybe the money, nobody wants to talk about it, but maybe it's the part of this scene. be independent, maybe in a little way. That's quite it.
Yes.
Yeah, something I love about this trip to Dubai, at least in Spain. I love the way you pick the people, because you didn't pick like the biggest influencer in terms of numbers. You took people like me, people from the old school, people who's been smoking alpaca the whole life. So that was very, very nice from you.
Yes, I brought people that were already close to the brand and really wanted, like, really was gonna get the best out of the trip. Communicating what Fakher means to them, communicating as well what they means to us, because we gave the opportunity for a well-known brand to really get in touch and break the bridges and be open with the community. And show and open the doors to our world, which is our focus right now. We're not just focusing on just bam, just doing something of a good quality, in a good measure, in a soft way, in an elegant way, and really focusing on the experience.
Perfect. I think we've covered that subject now. I think we've answered quite a lot of the questions already, guys. Jakub, Matt, Mario, you have anything else to ask Mo, Matthew?
No, just say thank you for having me there and answer all of the questions. I hope the best for you guys with this chapter 2, and I hope to see that soon.
Thank you for having us.
No worries. So I think we're going to sign off, guys. It's been an interesting show. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And if you have any more questions for Fakher, you can always contact Mo or Matthew. Thank you so much to Matt from Morning Hookah for always supporting and jumping on with me. Thanks to Jakub. Great to see you finally. Thanks for jumping on. And of course, Mario, thanks for always taking part as well. Mo, Matthew, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate Fakher agreeing to do this podcast. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later for sure.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So guys, that's the Fakher podcast done. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you got any other brands you want me to bring on in the future, just drop me a message on the Instagram, Shisha Central. Make sure you guys are also involved in our Facebook group, the Shisha Source, fairly new Facebook group for all different types of shisha smokers, whether you're a beginner, advanced, or enthusiast. So make sure you join the group and look out for my Hookah Club show video dropping on Friday. Hopefully, you would see an interview on there as well with me and one of the Fakher team members as well. So thanks for staying tuned. Thanks for supporting. Subscribe, comment, like, and I'm out.